My name is Osifesolu Larry. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as from Lawon, Kolom, Africa.
Good day! Please, like I've always clamored, please. I know you love what you're doing. Subscribe to my channel. Love it. I beg, be on my channel. You get the best news. I love you guys. Like, comment, share. Some of you come to my inbox, my DM to comment. Yeah, it's good, but sometimes also comment on this social media. It helps my growth. Like, share. Share, please. It's very important you share. I love you guys. Yeah, beautiful race. Very interesting. Much more different from the sprint race. And I'll quickly talk about two things and I go back to that. Number one, in my last video, the last part of the video, I talked about the peace we need in this world. Russia, Ukraine has been since 2022, January, February. The war has been on. A lot has been going on, though we've not really heard much about the war because Russia has held on to their own part that they are not giving up. Now we're having Israel, Palestine. It's not just Israel, Gaza, West Bank, it's Israel, Palestine. And the kind of destruction we are seeing, this is just war. This is more than you telling people, get off my territory, or you are encroaching my land, or you are kidnapped some people. This is more than that. This is just pure massacre. This is pure genocide. I'm not siding with Israel, neither am I siding with Palestine, but I'm just saying that let there be peace. The people of Israel should look at how much they have destroyed, and they should look at, they cannot rebuild that city, they cannot rebuild those places they've destroyed, but we can stop this war. And I think other world leaders should come in between and see what they can do. It's Hamas that Israel said they had issues with, but this is gone beyond Hamas. This is totally gone beyond Hamas. This is total destruction. This is not about religion, but we are making it a religious war. Please and please, I beg of you, let us see how we can end this war. Because what we are meant to start a conversation with and agree on, and we start bringing out weapons, we still end it with conversation. Also, when there is war, children, babies are affected, and here a lot of babies, a lot of children have been killed and maimed, and this is getting out of hand. Watching the news every day and seeing children, babies provoking, and I wish the world leaders are looking at this and they can see what they can do to subside this pain. Let there be peace. And also to my own boy Phillips Janos, please don't forget, I'll still make a documentary about it after this season, about Nigerians in F1. I'm talking about Nigerians in F1, karting, and anything associated with Formula 1. For now, please, we can't leave him alone out there. He needs our support. Philip needs our support. His parents need our support. I'm calling on the whole world, and I'm calling on Nigerians, 1 million Nigerians in diaspora in Nigeria, in the UK, in Europe. Please, let us support him. So, back to US Grand Prix. Yeah, Verstappen said yesterday that the sprint takes away the spectacle from the real race and it doesn't give people what they expect. But I think he has won more points from the sprint last year, 2 years ago, 2021, that they started the sprint, and this year than anybody. And I'm not sure that is the way the sprint is. The sprint is not taking the spectacle away. The sprint is making it more spectacular, not just because of points, but it gives other drivers a pre-head of how they can start the next race, what they can do better, because the moment you lock the car on Friday before qualifying, it remains in park for me. Nothing can be done to the car. The only thing you can do is to yourself and the front wing and the rear wings. Any other thing is just to yourself, which means the gains you need to make is all by yourself. You're on your own. Anything you're adding to the front wing and the rear wing is just a bonus. Or you take penalty and you change your whole car. But the spectacle is this. Sprint race is wonderful, and the sprint race of yesterday was one I enjoyed, and it looks better from Qatar Grand Prix. The Grand Prix has been looking much more quite unpredictable to some extent, but it's still predictable. And I think from Mexico, we might have a lot of unpredictability. And in my last video, I told you Ferrari won't be on the podium. I told you it to be the Mercedes, the Red Bull, and the McLaren, and that was what happened, because Ferrari are not in contention at all. They are not even on pace with anybody. And big ups to Mercedes, their upgrade is working. They should be singing, is it working? Is working. So Mercedes upgrade is working. That's what the Mercedes should be singing about, because that flood they brought, like Lewis Hamilton said, he said that's the first upgrade that he felt most from upgrades they've been bringing in the past 2 years. That's the first upgrade that he felt most, and this should be a curve for learning. As in, when you say a curve, a change in direction for Mercedes, the way their race or their car would come next year. And I think they still have a lot to learn. If they have possibility, bringing more upgrades. And the reason why I'm saying that is I want a very competitive grid in which is very, very unpredictable, and one in which we look at, wow, this person really deserves winning. So if they can bring more, and Aston Martin will be bringing upgrades next week. The upgrades they brought this week was only on Lance Stroll's car. Fernando Alonso used the old Qatar. If these teams can bring more upgrades and they can learn from it, so next year will be more tighter. We want to see battles, not only at the top, like I've always said. We want to see great battles. We want to see these drivers battle it out. That is the essence of Formula One. So to the race. How did it all start? Lando Norris starting from second. I've always said it that the second position could be the best position in US. Lando Norris starting from second position was able to push Charles Leclerc out of his first position. He started fast and he was able to make gains. Lewis Hamilton starting from third was squeezed out by Carlos Sainz that started from fourth. You know, those on the even numbers, the second, fourth, sixth, 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, 16th, 18th, and 20th are on the cleaner side of the track. The odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7 are all to 19 are all on the dirty side of the track. So Carlos Sainz started well and was able to rough handle Lewis Hamilton, push him away. Meanwhile, in which Lewis Hamilton trying to escape his push had to push Max Verstappen away. But all in all, Lando Norris got to start leading the race from turn 1. With Charles Leclerc second, Carlos Sainz third, Lewis Hamilton fourth. Esteban Ocon and Piastri had a collision. They tangled into themselves in turn 4. That took out both cars, in which Piastri retired because of water leak and a broken radiator as a result of the accident he had with Esteban Ocon. Oscar Piastri retired lap 11, while Ocon retired lap 6 because as a result of the collision he had with Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen was able to lead the race on lap 28. Now, before lap 28, what happened? Max Verstappen was able to gain a position from starting and was able to chase down Lewis Hamilton, but unfortunately for him, Lewis Hamilton had a very good car, was unable to close him down, and Verstappen overtook Carlos Sainz also, but was unable to get any close to Lewis Hamilton. I have said it before, undercut is powerful in the US. Max Verstappen took an advantage of the undercut and their fast pit stop, in which they've always had, except for the last race in Qatar, that Lando Norris team of McLaren was able to pip them by 8 millitenths of a second by clocking 1 second 8/10 in changing their tires in Qatar. But all through the season, Red Bull had always been on their pit stop. They had a quick change of tires. He got out, he was lapping cool. Mercedes were like on indecision to know what they should do because they were thinking of having a one-stop race because they don't know how good their car would be in the race. They were thinking of having a one-stop race, but unfortunately, they stayed out long. Lewis Hamilton made a lot of mistakes, and those were the few mistakes he made all through the weekend because they had a very beautiful week. Didn't make any mistake until the race, and the mistakes he made were as a result of tires all through the race. Those were the 2 mistakes he made in the race. So he had lockups because the tires were already moving away from him, so he was unable to control the car. And Lando Norris went in next to change his tire, but it was way back ahead because the undercut was against him. That took Max Verstappen to lead in the race. Charles Leclerc had just a one-stop. His teammate Carlos Sainz had 2 stops. Charles Leclerc was one of the drivers that had a one-stop race, and it didn't really work for them in the race. Max, I think, felt the heat all through the race, all through the weekend. He was under really big pressure because they believed the McLaren and the Ferrari would be just their competitors, not knowing the upgrades from the Mercedes would give them bigger issues. So unfortunately, he was under pressure all through the race, checking for numbers. He had brake issues from lap 29, 30, and he made a lot of complaints. And at the point, he had to be talking to GP, that's Gianpiero Lambias, that's his race director, to just give him a break and not disturb him during the drive because he was really under pressure. And Hamilton, after his second change, was just on fire. He was just chasing after the Ferrari, the McLaren, and the Red Bull, and he almost got the win, finishing the race 2.2 seconds behind the Red Bull. And that was an impressive finish from Lewis Hamilton that had the car all weekend better than his teammate George Russell. George Russell suffered all through the race because he was unable to maximize the potential of the car all through the weekend. And Alonso had to retire the car due to floor damage on lap 51. Albon was the only driver that had a track limit penalty on lap 52, a 5-second lap penalty. By lap 49, Hamilton overtook Lando Norris for second place in the race. But with more laps in the race, he could have overtaken Max Verstappen to win the race. But that was not to work for him this weekend. But what a race, because he took the race like he raced for his life. Seeing an opportunity to win a race after like 2 seasons, which could have been a good comeback and a good feel for Lewis Hamilton, and we could have seen the reignition of the Max Verstappen Lewis Hamilton heartbreaking battle in that race, which would have been a very sweet one to watch, a very interesting one to watch. How both competitors would feel, how they would fare, and how they would comport themselves during the race. But we didn't see that because Max Verstappen was able to get the best of Lewis Hamilton and the best of everybody on the grid. Not just because he had a better car, but because the whole grid is already bunching up and they are already getting close to the Red Bull. Red Bull, like I said in my last video, I don't want bringing upgrade except the cost cap effect is not working against them. They are totally focused and dedicated on the next year car. And I think from this race, from what we are seeing this race, if other teams are able to maximize the potential of their upgrades like Mercedes, like McLaren, it might be very, very difficult for the Red Bull to win any other race this season. Let me say it again. If the Mercedes, the McLaren can get under and solve their little problems they have and understand their upgrade, there might be no more win for the Red Bull this season. From the look of things, there might be no more win for them because these teams have really improved. Flaw Mercedes brought is just giving them the Red Bull wing while they are sponsored by Monster. But a great win for Max Verstappen, an hat-trick in the US on Austin track, which is a perfect one for him. Another bad day, bad strategy for the Ferrari team. I think Ferrari now should be able to cover their face after all I've said all through the season about their strategy. Last season, for the past 10 seasons, Ferrari had been undone by bad decisions, bad strategies during the races. I've said it in one of my videos in which the way people have talked about dominance of Mercedes, I tell people the 2021 season, Red Bull had the best car on the grid. One of their issues was strategies. From 2016 to 2020, Ferrari has had the best car on the grid. Their main issue had been strategies. They've been unable to win championship. They've won races, but they've been unable to win championship due to their lack of making strategic decisions that will give them the race. But they make decisions that will take the race away from them. And that is what they did today. And that is so bad of them because their decisions today were shambolic and it really affected them in winning the race. Mercedes almost made the same decision, but they were able to trust their car, their machinery later when they learned that car had the potential of winning, and that car is a very, very good car for the race. But the Ferrari knows their car. They know the only problem they've had is degradation. Degradation is only their problem. So why can they not just get good strategies that will put them in the right position for them to win races? They had the race in the palm of their hands today. They could have won the race. You know your problem. Work with your strength and work your strength against your limitations. But no, the Ferrari team will always use their limitations to kill their races, and that in turn destroy their race. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, could have won the race in different ways. He had two very, very bad pit stops that took close to 3 seconds away from him. He made 2 mistakes, one on the tire, locking up, that took about 6/10, and another one on lap 51 that took about 1 second away from him. And he also stayed long behind Charles Leclerc that was defending for his life when he knew he was not going to hold on to even fourth position. He was defending for his life, so which is a great thing for him. But spending much time behind him, he lost about 5/10. Those few seconds could have given him possibly a win, but lack of belief, all those things took the race away from him. But coming second in this race is still a good deal for the Mercedes, especially Lewis Hamilton, cutting his deficit to Sergio Perez to 19 from 30 points, and in a weekend he was able to cut it to 19. And let's see how he fares, how Mercedes fares in Mexico. But I think it's already too late for Red Bull looking at what they would do to help Sergio Perez. I think if they had thought about that at the beginning of the season, they would have seen how they could have managed their two drivers to keep winning races, and Max Verstappen could still have won the championship and Sergio Perez would still be second. Now is a difficult ask for Sergio Perez to be second with other teams improving their car, which will make the next 5 races, much more competitive for them. And the way I'm looking at it, I don't see Sergio Perez winning any of the races. I don't even see Red Bull possibly winning 2 races in the next 5 races. I see Mercedes winning like 2 races, possibly McLaren 1 race, and let's see how others fare. But I don't see Red Bull winning 2 races in the remaining 5 races of the year because they've really bunched up, and Mercedes might still bring some bits of update to learn, and that might improve their car. And they will also improve on the upgrades they've brought that will make the car faster and better. So for Red Bull to break the jinx of them finishing 1 and 2 in the Drivers' Championship, I don't see that coming this year. I don't see that working for them because they've blown their own chances in their hand. And that, I think, was the reason why the Red Bull fans, the Mexican fans, the American fans on the grid were booing Max Verstappen and Red Bull today. And I think that I have 2 things to say to that, because it is disgracing if fans are booing a driver. It has happened so many times, and I think F1 has a lot to do with that. They need to make rules and conditions favorable for drivers, not just to relate, but transparency in whatever goes on in the paddock and between teams, so that everybody can know what is going on, why a driver is not really performing, why a car is this and that, so that it makes fans more informed, more learned, not what they come to tell us, in which most of the fans know is a lie, which is killing the sport. I think FIA has a lot to do on that, and I think Red Bull just shot themselves in the leg, booing their best driver that has won 3 championships in a row. Red Bull, to them it might be nothing, like we are winning now, because you don't contain anybody in there, you don't consign anybody, as long as we are winning, and we might decide to ask this guy next year. And if that happens, in which we know it will happen, it might be a very, very backlash for Red Bull team in their promotion of their product in North America, which consists of Canada, Mexico, and USA. And I think there will be a lot of backlash on them. They might lose fans, and I've said it in some videos that FIF1 are losing about 20% of the fans they are gaining, and they're losing over 50% of online fans, that's social media fans. They need to look at that, how to gain fans, because these are the blood of the sport. The fans are the blood of the sport. They need to see what they can do to get that back, and also see what they can do to make sure the sport is more fairer. Like I've always said, Red Bull have done a terrific job this season. Make Red Bull slow. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying make it more fairer, because nobody's really talking about Red Bull being fast has caused the dominance. Yes, Red Bull's dominance this season and last season is just off the hook. Never been a dominance like that before in F1. Even when Sebastian Vettel was winning, the dominance was not as much as this, as crazy as this. But it's a terrific job they've done, and they have a very good driver, an Hall of Famer in the making, which makes it more perfect for them. So I think FIA and Red Bull need to look at that and really see how they can gain those fans back by whatever means they can do, and make sure they don't lose those fans. They are still going to America one more time this year, and Las Vegas. And remember, there will be a lot of Mexican, lots of Latinos in Vegas. They need to see how they can gain these people back. To drivers like Carlos Sainz, great drive from him, but the Ferraris are just not there. Oscar Piastri, sorry for losing out. Esteban Ocon, hey, sorry bro. Fernando Alonso, another DNF for him in US. They need to get on top of that. Good point for Lance Stroll, getting 2 points, 9th position, great one. Powerful points for Gasly, great struggle for Russell, but still to be in the point. Tsunoda, nice one from Tsunoda. It was a nice race for him, and he was able to change his tires when he knew Alex Albon would be having 5 seconds penalty. He quickly changed his tire, went for the fastest lap, got the 10th position with 1 point, and also had the extra 1 point to make 2 points to take home for him. That's powerful for him. And bad luck to his teammate Daniel Ricciardo with that one stop that hampered his race and destroyed his race today. I think that was a bad strategy for AlphaTauri. And to Alfa Romeo, after a great performance in Qatar, what really happened to Alfa Romeo? They had upgrades in Qatar. What happened to them here? I think they need to go back to the drawing board. Look at what happened to them in Austin. What did they do wrong in Austin? What did they do well in Qatar? They need to look at that. Though different tracks, but the car could still have related very well and give them a better performance than they had today. But the performance was not there today. Now, and a good one for Williams, finishing 11 and 12 in the race. Albon 11, Logan Sargent 12. Can Logan Sargent keep up this pace even if he does not finish in points this season? But to be having 11, 12 back to back, that might secure him the seat for next year's season. Can he keep up? Let's see what he can do in the next 2 races back to back in Mexico and in Brazil. So let's see what he can do about that. If possibly he can keep that up, it will be better. But we have the remaining races of the season. We have the Mexican Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi. Yeah, those are the remaining races for this season. Yeah, so 4 more races. Mexico next week, Brazil the following week, United States, Las Vegas 16 to 18, 24 to 26, the end of the season in Abu Dhabi. From what we are saying, the McLaren team are taking more points than anybody in the last 6 races. It's only Max Verstappen that are taking more points than their single driver or than both of their drivers, which is great for them. And I think as we're looking at it, it's going to be a very interesting race in Mexico. In Brazil, Mercedes won their first race of the season last year in Brazil. Can they do a better one in Mexico? Let's see what happens. The race still ended with Lewis Hamilton still being in top 5 in Austin, US. That Austin race is one of his best races, and he had only been out of podium once in Austin. That should be 2013 when he came 4th in the race. Aside from that, in Austin he had always been on podium since 2012 the race started. So up until the next video, I love you guys. Great race in Austin. We meet in ahead of Mexico and the Mexican Grand Prix. I love you. Bye. Cheers.
Gibor gives you power. Gibor gives you control. Gibor gives you benefits. Are you an individual or business that uses fuel or gas? Use Gibor to find the best prices across all retail outlets in your city. For users and businesses that buy volumes, Gibor gives you access to credit. Gibo also gives you the ability to track your costs and monitor expenses per car or fleet. Need to improve your costs, enjoy incentives, or track expense? Gibo is the answer. Enjoy 5% discount on your first 5 purchases when you get your next fuel voucher from Gibo. Log on to www.gibo.co to enjoy this. Retail outlets wanted nationwide.
I have a new friend in the house. We are in Nigeria here, West Africa. He provides internet for us. They provide the best internet around the mainland, and I know they are still moving to the highland and they are moving all around Nigeria. But for you to get internet on the mainland, contact Firebrad Telecom Limited. They get you sorted out ASAP. The best cable internet on the mainland, fiber optic, they get sorted out. We talk much about them in the course of some of our videos, but contact them, they get sorted out. Teams Gadget is for those of you that cannot easily go to the market to get your phones, your laptops, your accessories. Just place a call through. His phone number is there. It gets you the best. It's your shop plug to get you the best phones, accessories, laptops, games, and other accessories for your computer gaming experience. Contact Teams Gadget and you get them for you.